Hi.
All right, can you hear me?
Okay. Sorry, my volume was
Nope,
off.
I can't hear you.
Can you
It
hear
might be
me?
my problem. Hang on. Yep. Okay, now try.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Morning.
sometimes it defaults to speaker to be my microphone instead of my actual speakers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, mine does that too. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Good, good. Did you guys have a big family gathering or do you go somewhere?
Yeah. My husband and I literally just didn't do anything for the first time. We hung out with friends. It was great. What about
Very,
you?
very nice. I ended up making a cross-country trip. My son that's in the Marines said, "Hey, Mom, will you bring me my car? I can have my car on base." So I
Oh
drove
my gosh.
2 days to bring the car from Missouri to the North Carolina coast and picked up my older son from college. He met me part of the way. And then at the end of the weekend, the three of us, I drove us back to Charlotte, North Carolina, so that my older son could go back to South Carolina where because we he left his truck there. I flew home from Charlotte, and then Joey drove his car back to base 6 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's a
it
lot of
yeah,
driving.
it
But
worked out though. It worked out and very relaxing. The three of us, I rented a short-term rental in a tiny beach town that was closed for the winter, basically. So all we did was hang out at the house and walk the beach and
oh, I
like
love that.
no crowds, no arguing, which was so nice with two young men as sons.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So it was great.
Oh, that's lovely. So it looks like we have a few people rolling in. Feel free to, the chat Q&A functionality should be available. So feel free to drop any questions that you might have throughout the presentation in the chat. And then, I don't know, Tan, I can go ahead and get started.
Mhm. Yeah. Go ahead and get started, and I'll watch the chat box for you, and
Okay,
we'll do it. Thank you.
perfect, perfect. Well, first of all, thank you, Tyann, and thank you to the Missouri Vacation Home Alliance for having us. I'm so excited to share how Booking.com can help grow your vacation rental business, especially for the upcoming excitement that we have. So, what we do for travelers in the US, Booking.com, or sorry, in the US, travelers increasingly seek diverse accommodations beyond traditional hotels. So Booking.com caters to that demand by offering a wide array of vacation rentals. And this broad appeal means your vacation rental listings are exposed to a massive and varied audience.
Emily, real quick, it says chat's disabled.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Let me
That's
take a
okay.
look
Not for
here.
me, for everybody else. If you can't find the setting, then I'll just watch the Q&A and answer people on the Q&A.
Okay, yeah. So sorry to clarify, Q&A is open, but just the normal chat is not open. So you feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A. Um,
Perfect.
yeah, but the chat is disabled.
Okay.
Thank you for
Excellent.
that call out. Mhm.
Yep. Cool. Thank you. Proceed, please.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So what we do for our partners, so for property managers like you, this means access to tools and services designed to help to scale your business, promote your properties efficiently, and ultimately increase your bookings and revenue. You are looking in the right place for vacation rental business growth. So, vacation rentals now represent 1 in 3 room nights booked globally on Booking.com, and we have welcomed over 1.8 billion vacation rental guests. So, the demand is here and it's continuing to grow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I know it's amazing. We're not just for hotels.
Nope.
So, in 2025, vacation rentals earned over 800,000 vacation rental earned a traveler award on booking.com. So this demonstrates the quality within the vacation rental segment that we have, which builds trust for both travelers and for our new partners. And what a lot of you will care about for the upcoming game. So you're reaching a global audience when you use Booking.com. Booking.com has a global footprint, and our strong presence means your properties are visible to both domestic and international travelers planning trips. So guests often come to our platform with a destination in mind rather than a specific accommodation type. This means your listing gets exposed to travelers who might not have considered a vacation rental at first, but are open to it once they see the option. And 1 in 3 travelers ends up booking a vacation rental on our platform. We're also one of the most downloaded travel apps in the world, which means more eyes on your listings, more bookings, and ultimately more revenue for you. So our marketing engine works hard so you don't have to. We advertise your listing on major search engines like Google, Bing, and in 45 different languages. So as far as international appeal goes, it makes it really easy for a traveler from a different country to find your listings in the language that they read in. We invest in both global and local campaigns, and this drives consistent demand across the year. Plus, you gain access to our Genius loyalty customers, which are filled with repeat travelers who often start their search on Booking.com. And 45% of our new hosts on the platform receive their first booking within a week. So getting your stay ridiculously right. Our ad campaigns are some of the most visible in the industry. Our 2025 Super Bowl ad campaign featuring the Muppets had over 95 million views on YouTube and 165 million on TikTok. So this kind of exposure translates to massive awareness and traffic to our platform and ultimately to your properties. We're not just on TV though, so we're deeply integrated into cultural moments. We're the long-term presenting sponsor for Major League Baseball, and this means more inspired travelers booking your properties for unique and memorable trips, like this upcoming summer event in Kansas City. So Booking.com is continuously investing in technology to launch exciting new features to enhance the vacation rental experience for both guests and hosts. Discovering vacation rentals is an essential part of Booking.com. So this is fairly new, but we now have AI-powered search, and this is a game changer for the US market. So travelers can use natural and conversational language like, I want a house close to the beach for families and our dog with air conditioning to find properties. This means your detailed property amenities become even more valuable. It's always a great best practice to detail any amenities you have, because if you accurately list amenities like air conditioning or pet friendly, your property would show up in the search results. So using Kansas City, you can put your proximity to the stadium. And if a traveler types in, I'm looking for somewhere close to Arrowhead Stadium, that your listing would show up if that is included in your details, your property details. So it makes it really easy for travelers.
So do they need, so for instance, I know this is getting a little detailed, but putting the exact mileage or the exact time, or is it vague, you say close to the stadium is what the AI is looking for? What type of wording would be best?
Yeah, so for on Booking.com, we'll automatically have your proximity to attractions. So essentially just having your address, making sure it's accurate, will translate to the proximity of the most popular attractions close to you. So if you're close to Arrowhead, and let's say you're within like a half mile, as long as your address is accurate, if someone was searching for a property close to that attraction, you'll show up in those results. So it's not something that you have to do as like an extra step as far as like listing it as a separate amenity. It'll be based on your proximity. However, this is kind of a common misconception. So this is a great, I'm glad that you asked this. We do have a section where you can put in a customized property description and also customize about the neighborhood. So I definitely recommend adding this information also in like about the neighborhood and about the property, because that'll just help with SEO search results. And you're also able to highlight the benefits of your listing in your own words, as opposed to the description that booking.com generates.
Perfect. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to the Gen AI powered search, it also takes that conversational language and turns them into smart filters. So again, booking.com will highlight your property's unique selling points, personalized to each traveler's search, making your listing stand out and help convert more lookers into bookers. Now, shifting on to what matters most is hosting with peace of mind, especially if you're new to hosting and have never hosted vacation rentals before. We've built a ton of features that give you more control over who books your property, how you communicate with them, and how you can manage any unexpected issues. So you'll have insights into who's booking with tools like verified guest profiles. Currently it's being piloted, but it is expected to come before the end of the year. So prior to the events of the summer. And this is a great supplemental feature to our existing features, like setting expectation with house rules, having access to guest travel history, and verified emails and payments when using payments by booking. You're also in control of which guests can stay. So booking.com has traditionally been an instant booking platform. However, we realize that instant bookings may not be possible due to specific requirements, or honestly, some hosts just prefer to have a further layer of protection to vet guests. So we now have the ability to use request a book functionality on booking.com, which has been a game changer over the past year for hosts who want an extra layer of security. So you'll be able to vet guests prior to accepting the request. As far as our platform used to operate, we used to only allow instantaneous bookings. So now if you choose to, you can have request a book. And then if you're using a property management system or a channel manager, request a book is also available through your property management system. So you don't have to log into a separate part of booking.com. If you're using a channel manager or property management system, you'll be able to manage those requests directly in your provider, which makes it, again, a lot easier. You can also chat with guests before accepting their stay. So if you receive a request from a guest, you can communicate with the guest directly before accepting their stay. So if you have any additional questions that you want to ask them, like how many people are going to be here, they should have put that in their initial booking request, but we all know that sometimes travelers can miss the fine details. Is it okay? The guest can ask, like, is it okay if I bring a pet? So makes it a lot easier to have that peace of mind before letting someone into your home if you're new to this and you're not necessarily a professional host, if this is something that you're doing temporarily. So something I'm super excited about, we have had liability insurance up to $1 million per reservation, as well as damage payment options as far as like setting up a damage deposit. We now also have damage protection insurance facilitated through Generali, which is a great partner of the vacation rental industry as far as insurance coverage. And this covers anything from physical property damage. So if a traveler damages a TV or a piece of furniture, or they have, you require excessive cleaning due to an extra pet. That's now all covered when you're using booking.com. And it's automatic, so you don't have to do anything special to enroll into it. Once you build a listing on booking.com, it's automatically enrolled, nothing special that you have to do. It's super easy to submit a claim. So you're in control of your finances. You're in control with Payments by Booking, easier finances, and more secure cash flow, which is all accessible within booking.com. So if you've used us in the past, you may not know that we now have the ability to process payments on behalf of our partners. Payments by Booking, it gives you guaranteed payments and fraud protection, which is really important with these large scale events. It also offers guests the choice to pay with whichever method they prefer, whether that be Apple Pay, Klarna, PayPal. And these are just in addition to all of the major credit cards. So this flexibility for your guests can increase your conversion rate. And as an added bonus, it's free for all of 2026. So you can save some cash on bank transfer and credit card processing fees because it is completely free to use. It's really easy to get started once you sign up on the booking.com platform. Very easy to get set up. It takes about 5 minutes.
That's huge.
Mhm.
The payment prepayment processing, yeah, coupled with the fraud protection, totally.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I forgot to mention that is really great is if you've dealt with one chargeback, everyone knows how annoying they can be. And if you are using Payments by Booking, booking.com will handle that directly with the guest. And regardless if the guest is successful or not, you as the host wouldn't even know about it. We're not involving the host at all. We're still paying the host based on the payout schedule. And regardless if the guest is successful in their chargeback or not, booking.com is covering that.
Amazing. Okay, I'm really loving all of your guys's
Yeah.
upgrades you've done this year.
Yeah, we've made a ton of improvements, and we've really listened to all the feedback from our hosts. So definitely making it much easier for vacation rental hosts to list on our platform. Then something else that is great, especially if you're managing multiple listings, if you decide that you want to use Payments by Booking, there's automatic onboarding for your new property. So if your portfolio is growing, let's say you start out with 5 properties and you add 4 more later down the line, you don't have to remember to go onto booking.com to enroll those additional listings into Payments by Booking. They can be, if you turn the setting on, they can be automatically enrolled. So whichever you prefer, honestly, if you prefer to go in and make sure that you want that specific listing on payments, you can set it up that way, or you can do automated onboarding, which I definitely recommend because then you don't have to remember, kind of like set and forget.
Yeah, excellent.
Mm-hmm. And then we also now have group invoicing and reconciliation for invoices. So if you are someone who has used booking.com in the past or has not been a partner with us for a while, you may remember that in the past, if you had multiple listings, you had to pay invoices per property. We now have the ability to take a bulk payment for commission invoices, which definitely makes it a lot quicker. And then it's really simple to begin with us. So it's easy to get started with booking.com by either publishing your listings through your provider's your provider's system, or in the booking.com extranet. If you're not using a provider at all, you can actually import all of your details from other trusted travel websites. So if you're using one of the other big platforms, you can import all of that information. Saves you a ton of time rather than uploading your photos and selecting each amenity. We can actually pull that information from the other sites that are out there. So it's simple to import your property to us. If you are not using a provider, registration is free and only takes 15 minutes to complete. You can seamlessly import your property information from other travel websites. And then if you're using a provider, it just takes a few minutes to register, publish, and update your properties. So if you do have a provider, I recommend checking with them for the specific instructions on how to publish your listings. It's likely very similar to how you would go through the process with other OTAs, but I definitely recommend checking with them directly because there are so many out there and each one is a little bit different.
It is. And when Emily says provider, everybody, she's talking about your property management software. So PMS or your channel manager, those are the other words used interchangeably. So I know a lot of you will use OwnerRez or Hostfully, Hospitable, Guesty, all of those. And like Emily said, there are literally hundreds across the world. Uh, but there are some main bigger ones in the US too.
Yeah, and all of those are great partners of ours that we have direct connections with. So every system that you mentioned are systems that Booking.com has direct connections with.
Perfect.
And then you can see in this picture, so I hopefully it is large enough, but that's how you would import the property details from a trusted travel website if you're not using a provider currently. And something else that's really great, especially for new hosts, is that you don't have to start out from scratch. So as I mentioned earlier, 45% of hosts get their first booking within a week on our platform. And Booking.com converts review scores from other trusted platforms, giving new listings an immediate credibility boost. Your listings will have a new to Booking.com label, and then your properties also automatically get a visibility boosting in the first 90 days. So nothing that you have to do. It's something that we include for our new hosts. And then this is something that I really love is that if you are using other trusted travel websites, we will import what we call an external review score. So what it will show is, this property has a 9 out of 10 based on other trusted travel websites and 45 guest reviews. So it won't show like the text of the review from other websites, but it'll generate a score. And this really helps with new listings overcoming the cold start problem. So you can quickly establish a presence. Sometimes guests may be more hesitant to stay at a vacation rental that has no reviews yet. So the fact that we're able to import those from other trusted websites really helps establish trust with your property immediately when you start.
And that's huge, Emily. I didn't
Mhm.
realize Booking.com did that. Do they pull from people's direct websites also, or is it just the other OTAs or Google reviews?
Right now, it's just the other OTAs. So not direct websites currently, but there's, we're always improving. So that's great feedback that I can take to our product team, see if it's something
Okay,
that they would consider in the future. Mhm.
that would be great. Is Google reviews also or no?
I believe it's the major OTAs,
Okay,
but
cool.
honestly, it's not publicly available because then the reviews could potentially be manipulated.
That's very true.
Um,
Yes.
I would assume so, but I can't say for sure.
Just curious.
Yeah. So now when you're new to the platform, we definitely want to help your properties perform with available tools for your initial setup and beyond. Um, this is something that will be super helpful if you're not using a provider. So you can automate your availability so you don't miss bookings. You can sync your calendar to other travel websites with ours to keep your availability up to date and avoid overbookings. So this is really important. If you're not using a provider, but you do want to use multiple channels, you can use something called an iCal link and use this link to sync your calendar among the 3 major OTAs, if that's all you want to use. And it makes it really easy for you. I Personally, I recommend if you have the means to use a provider because it will make your life a lot easier. But if it's not something that you want to do right now, there's definitely solutions so that you don't miss out on any of the demand. Um,
And I just want to underscore what Emily just said. So the iCal link does work, but there is a delay. So if you get a booking from booking.com and another OTA within minutes of each other, that iCal sync is not going to work the best. And you may end up with a double booking. I know this because I did that. And then I grew up a little bit. And after the stress of a double booking, then I realized how important the provider or PMS is.
Mhm.
And especially even if you're only using it for during the World Cup games, only for those 90 days, and then of course you'll want to do it now. So 6 months is what you're looking at to using it. That provider or channel manager. There are different channel managers who are doing specials for the Missouri Vacation Home Alliance so that it is a very low cost for you to do this. And it will wipe away so much stress because the API connection, the direct integration, is instant and the platforms will check your calendar before it allows the guests to book. So therefore, you won't get those double bookings. And we'll have a whole nother session solely on the channel management and providers and things like that. But I just wanted to underscore what Emily said about it.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Honestly, like getting a provider, as Tyann said, even if it's temporary, will pay for itself. And you also don't have to log into multiple systems, which the amount of time, if you don't want to use a provider, think about having to log into each individual travel channel in order to manage all of your reservations and guest communications. Using a provider consolidates that everything into one system and just makes your life a lot easier. So completely echo what you say. And then finding the right balance between restrictions and availability. So consider evaluating your restrictions and availability for the right balance. As far as like minimum stay rules, they can really boost your revenue per booking. But on the flip side, they can also limit your guest pool, especially for those shorter domestic trips that can be really common. With the game happening over the summer, maybe on some of those like shoulder dates, like consider doing a minimum length of stay when there's the big game scheduled, but the days in between, maybe having more relaxed restrictions. And then longer stays, so they can pay for reducing turnover costs, but they can leave frustrating unbooked gaps in your calendar. So when it makes sense, don't be afraid to maintain shorter minimum stays. This can also help you capture more bookings, especially for some of those like last minute travelers who might be looking for, just decide at the last minute, like I want to go see my team and I'm going to come for 2 days. Um, as far as like all the travel platforms go, there's a lot of great analytics out there. So I definitely recommend looking into those analytics so you can make like the most educated decision about what restrictions that you want to offer. And then as far as showing you at your best and some of the things that are going to make the biggest impact on having guest book. So photos are the go-to information source for 63% of guests, which is huge. So make sure that you have great photography. You don't need to be a professional photographer. But make sure that the lighting is good, it's not washed out, and you have at least 10 high quality photos. And include images not only of the bedrooms, include kitchen, exterior, things that put yourself in the shoes of the traveler. Like, what would you want to see if you're making a booking? And look at it from that lens. Maybe don't necessarily do like, this is what I would think would make the most sense, like taking a close-up picture of like in the bedroom. Put yourself in the shoes of the traveler and think of all the things that you want to see. Like, I want to see the kitchen when I'm traveling and staying in VRs because I love to cook. So to create a guest persona, that ideal guest that you want to attract to your property, and you can base some of your decisions around photography or like what amenities you're going to stock your property with based on that guest persona. And then make sure to highlight any unique features you have. So any unique amenities, hot tub, pool, or like shared community amenities like gym, fitness center, playground for families. So other amenities that are really important to families is parking. 66% of families select properties that have parking. So make sure that all of your parking is up to date. That's something that I have found can be neglected sometimes. It'll just be like blank on the listing. People, hosts sometimes forget to add that information, but it's super important. Tag your images to boost visibility and attract bookings. So not only specific to booking.com, this helps with Google SEO as well for guests who might just be searching on Google. If you tag your photos, it will help them get a ranking boost on Google.
And when you
then
tag, do you mean making sure they're tagged for a certain room or that it has alternate text on it or a caption on it? What do you mean?
tagged for the specific amenity. So if you have a photo of a hot tub, tag it as a hot tub. And then that way, if someone is Googling Kansas City hot tub, house with 2 bedrooms, if all of those things are selected on your property and your photo, I mean, you don't necessarily have to tag your photos, but it will just help with search engine optimization and boosting your ranking on Google.
Right.
But anyways, if you have those things selected as well as your photos tagged, that will show up in the search results. So it's just, I would say, be over descriptive as far as which amenities you select, as long as they're accurate and you are setting up the correct expectations for your guests, not over promising and under delivering. If it's something that you have, even if it might seem minimal to you, mention it or select it as amenity. And this doesn't apply just to booking.com. I would say to do this across the board.
So therefore, if there's a tea kettle, they better tag the tea kettle.
Yes, exactly. It sounds silly, but there's a lot of data out there on why it's important.
Well, I mean, the Europeans, my friends, actually travel with
Oh,
their
yeah.
tea kettle because they know the Americans don't have tea kettles, and it's that
Mhm.
important to them.
Absolutely. They're not big coffee drinkers, so that is a great call out. Okay, so as far as getting started, if you want to get started on booking.com, you would go to join.booking.com if you are not using a provider. So this is if you're not using a provider and you want to go and get started on your own and maybe go through the calendar syncing process, this is where you would go, is to join.booking.com. If you are using a provider, check their knowledge base, because 9 out of 10 times you have the ability to do this directly within them. And that includes signing up for the booking.com account. So a lot of our partners, our connectivity partners, you don't even have to go on booking.com to sign up for an account. You can do that all directly within their system. So no provider, join.booking.com. Using a provider, check with them first prior to going on the website and getting started. And then I will go ahead and look in the chat to
Oh,
see.
we got lots of questions for you.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So before we get to that, the chat, I do want to ask one question. Um,
Yeah.
taxes. How does Booking.com handle taxes? I'm assuming with a connected partner, our taxes set up will flow through to Booking, and then we'll get the taxes and remit. Is that correct? And then for
Yeah.
others, do they have to also collect and remit, or do you collect and remit, and which ones do you do?
Yes. So that is a great question. Currently, booking.com does not remit taxes on behalf of hosts. So how it works is whichever tax rate you have in that specific area, we collect that, and then it is paid out to you with the reservation payout. And the host is ultimately responsible for paying the local authorities for those taxes. Regardless if you decide to use payments by booking or not, you still remain the merchant of record. So we are facilitating and processing the payment and liable for the payment. But as far as paying taxes to local authorities, it's not something that we currently do unless it's legally required in that specific area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank
Mhm.
you. And so therefore, everybody on the webinar, I think I have, if you're not one who wants to collect and remit taxes, and that is what's stopping you from using booking.com, I think I have a solution for you, but I don't want to say anything on this webinar because it's not thought out all the way. But I do want to say there are ways to figure things out. So don't let the tax things stop you from
Mhm.
listing on Booking. Okay, Emily, are you ready?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now they're gonna be in different orders. So let me just go through and I'll ask you. So Christine's used Booking.com before. She's
Mhm.
disappointed by the lack of verification of guests. Are there increased verification steps now, which you've talked some, but I think if you can go a little bit deeper on them, and then also about the damage, what's the host ability to seek the compensation?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That is a great question, Christine. So I totally hear you on this. And it is an area that we did not have the greatest functionality in the past as far as verifying and vetting guests. So there's two different things that we have now. So through payments by booking, if you use payments by booking, we are verifying that all the details match. So in the past, how it worked is we would pass along the guest information to you, the host, that being their name, credit card, CVC code. However, booking.com was not validating that information. You as the host was responsible for validating, which of course, it was a massive headache for our hosts. I'll be fully transparent about that. Especially because in vacation rentals, you're not necessarily seeing a guest face to face. There's no front desk. So it put a lot of stress on our hosts, but now with the addition of payments, we are doing a lot of the pre-checking on your behalf. And this significantly reduces fraud on our platform. The other thing that we now have that will be, it's not fully rolled out yet, so I want to be transparent about that, but it is coming before the end of the year that we will have guest verification, and you'll be able to set your policies based on the verification parameters. So you could say, like, I only want to accept guests who have verified themselves. On the guest end, I've already gotten, as a booking.com guest, I've already gotten like the notification to say, like, hey, would you like to be a verified guest? So I know that we are already reaching out to the guests to collect this information. So keep an eye out for that coming hopefully within the next month. And then lastly, we now have request to book. So this is another great added layer of security for you as far as being able to communicate with guests and being able to talk to the guests, ask them any questions that you may have prior to accepting that reservation. So in the past, we were instant booking, and you were there, you're stuck with it for lack of better words. But now if you choose, and I personally recommend using instant booking because it will not slow down the booking process for the guest, and you'll have a better conversion rate. However, you do have the ability to use request to book if you choose. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. What about
Oh, the
the
insurance. Yes, thank you so much. This literally is brand new. I think it rolled out on, what's the date today? The 11th. It rolled out on like the 5th of December. So it's brand new. We're super excited because has been an area that we have fallen short. I will again be transparent. I do want to let everyone know, I mean, everyone here, I'm pretty sure, is in the US, but just full disclaimer, this is only available for partners in the United States right now. And what is included in the coverage is your property and its contents. So that's going to be furniture, flooring, landscaping, fine art, vehicles. So stationary motor vehicles or watercrafts at your property, pet damage, any pet damages caused by guest pets during their stay, income loss when bookings need to be canceled due to covered guest damage for up to 3 months. So let's say like a guest leaves the sink on and causes water damage, and now your listing needs to be closed for 3 months. That would be covered under this policy. So excessive cleaning costs. This is when damage caused by guests requires extra cleaning. And then lost or stolen items. So replacement of lost keys or this, I don't think, hopefully this would not happen, but if there is any theft, you'd be able to claim under that. And
And
how to make, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, how is this activated? Is this like automatic for the listings, or is this something paid, or how does it work?
It's automatic and it's free. So there's nothing that you as the host needs to do to enroll in this. We are partnered with Generali, so you might already be using them for your direct insurance policies. It's really easy to make a claim. So how you would do that is in the unfortunate situation that you did have to make a claim on the booking.com end, there is a reservations page. So you would go to the reservation details for that specific guest, and there's a button that says make a claim. You would select that button, answer all the questions that it asks, and submit the claim, and Generali will contact you within 5 business days. So it's also very quick. You're not sitting in limbo wondering like, hey, is this going to be approved, denied? I haven't heard anything. 5 business days for an insurance company is quite speedy. So giving you extra peace of mind that you're not going to be waiting around to hear from someone.
And then do they also contact the guests as well, just to be aware if there's gonna be that friction?
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to communicate directly with the guests. They will handle this. Yeah, that obviously can be a point of contention and can cause additional stress and friction, but they will be handling the entire process as far as the claim goes. So once you make the claim, you would not have to contact the guest directly.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is what we call host. Let me actually drop a link here in the chat that everyone can reference.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I will put all these links, everybody. You don't see it in the chat. I just see her chat. So I will put the links with the recording on the MOVA website so everybody has access to that. And then the other thing, Emily, is if we do put in a claim,
Mhm.
Raleigh contacts the guest to verify, hey, did you do this? And the guest gets upset. What about the review? Because that is a part of friction that I know a lot of hosts don't do anything, they don't go after damages.
Yeah.
They're afraid of that review.
So that is a great question. I don't know the answer to that right now, but after we wrap up, I'll do some digging and see if I can find like what our current stance is on that, because that's a
Okay.
really great point. I don't know if submitting a claim kind of removes the ability from the guest for them to leave a review. But let me get some more details on that and I'll follow
Okay.
up.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And then in addition, so this is host property insurance. We also have liability insurance, which is more for like personal injuries. So if someone was in the front lawn and slipped on your sidewalk and broke their ankle and tried to come after you, we also have liability insurance. So there's host protection insurance, liability insurance. Every reservation is covered up to $1 million. So really, really great coverage for you. And again, just gives you another layer of peace of mind when hosting on our platform.
Excellent. Okay, so Jamie has a question about customer service rep. What is the best way to get one that understands her questions? She puts in a detailed example of what she did, and the customer service agent didn't quite understand what she was asking, and she finally gave up.
Yeah, so I'll look into this like specific situation for you, Jamie, to see what happened and where the ball was dropped. But we have 2 ways to contact our customer service. It is available 24/7, and there is you can either call in or send a message through the extranet. If it's not something that's like immediate, I recommend sending a message. That way you're not waiting on hold. The SLA is for them to answer within 2 days. So if it's not something that is needed to be immediately handled within 2 days, I recommend just going through the messaging. But if it's something that you do need help, immediate assistance with, I recommend calling. And a lot of things on booking.com are automated and things that you as the host are able to do yourself. So before even contacting customer service, I recommend going to partner.booking.com and searching for whatever particular issue you're dealing with, because 9 out of 10 times you likely can handle it on your own in the system without having to contact customer service. And I feel like a lot of host frustration sometimes comes from situations like that, where they call in customer service and are waiting on hold, when in reality, it's something that we have a full knowledge base article with detailed instructions on how that they can manage themselves. And then the customer service agent just relays that same answer. So always recommend checking our partner hub and knowledge base first. If it's something that you need immediate assistance with, calling. And as far as the phone number goes, it is different based on where you're located. So how you would find the phone number is when you're in your property admin, there's a contact us button, and it would give you the best phone number for that particular day and where you're located. So just FYI there.
Excellent. Thank you. So Robin wants to know if there's plans to be able to review guests or read reviews about guests. Most hosts are used to this type of verification and look at their guests through other platforms. Is that something that Booking is offering or will offer?
So right now it's not something that we have in our roadmap, but it's definitely feedback that we get consistently. I think one of the ways that we've been trying to manage that is with having more robust guest verification. It will show you if a guest has ever been reported for misconduct, how many cancellations they've had, if they've had any no-shows. So it gives you more peace of mind in the guest. As far as leaving a review about the guest privately, we don't have the ability right now, but I definitely recommend responding to reviews that guests leave about your property. And anonymous reviews are not allowed on our platform. So we only allow reviews from guests who have confirmed stay at your property. And as far as like reviewing guests directly, it's not on our roadmap, but it's definitely feedback that we continuously get. So keep giving us that feedback, because it helps our product teams prioritize those specific functionality features that are really important to our hosts.
Excellent. And I think your booking payments, all the features that go along with that for
Mhm.
this next year really helps with that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Sarah says she's read Booking.com favors instant bookings if she lists the property on Booking but wants to maintain complete control over bookings accepted or guest requirements. Will her listing be deprioritized or shown less if she's not instant booking?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sarah. So as far as how you accept reservations, that doesn't impact your visibility or ranking. There are other things that would impact your visibility and ranking, as far as your review score, or if you have like restrictions, like minimum length of stay restrictions. But if your property is available over the day that that guest is searching for, with the amenities that they're searching for, or the specific property configurations, if your home is available on the date the guest is choosing, that is, let's say, for example, if they pick, I want a 2-bedroom home on these dates, that's under this is my maximum amount I'm willing to spend. If your property fits all of those criteria, it'll show up in the results. And instant booking versus request to book does not impact your visibility. It could, however, impact your conversion rate, though. So I want to be transparent and talk a little bit about the difference there. From the guest perspective, they might see, oh, I can book this property instantly right now. or I can go through this property and wait for the host to get back to me if they're going to accept my reservation or not. So it can definitely impact your conversion rate, but as far as like your ranking and visibility on the guest facing end, it's not going to impact that.
Excellent. All right, so this question from Laura, we've been watching the different data from Price Labs, AirDNA, the different data sources on what people are booking, where they're booking, things like that. Do you happen to have, and I probably should have asked you this before so you could come better prepared, but the data for Booking.com, what are the international travelers booking on your platform as far as length of stay? Is it 6 weeks? Is it a month? Is it larger families? What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, so right now, families are our largest growing segment. As far as some of the other questions that you have, we're coming out with like a very robust report for the host cities in the US, which will, of course, include Kansas City, because it is so specific to area that I could give you a really general answer, but it might not apply specifically to Kansas City. So I don't want to give you an answer that doesn't necessarily match your area, and especially with the events happening, things are going to be a little bit skewed and a little bit different than they typically would. So I will say that for major sporting events, with we obviously see an increase in bookings around match dates and venue proximity. But as far as the 2026 event, we are seeing right now that people are booking longer stays, and younger international travelers are growing. So these are kind of like the initial things that we're seeing, and we're gonna have like a full robust report with really a lot more granular data. So if you're using the platform, make sure that your email address is up to date so you get notified when those articles are added to our partner hub, or you can check our partner hub, and I of course will send it to Tyann as soon as it's released, so that she can share it as well. But we're putting a ton of money into doing all the research about the games that are coming up, so be on the lookout for that.
Cool. Okay. All right. Next question, also from Laura. And I'm sorry, Christine. Can you explain cancellation policies? How much control do we have on cancellation policies? What happens if the guest cancels within our no refund period? And what happens if, for some reason, the host has to cancel? And I'm going to go get my charging cord, but you talk.
Yeah. So we have a lot of different, similar to the other platforms, we have standardized cancellation policies that you're able to choose from. However, we have so many different options. So we kind of have three main categories. So the three main categories are completely non-refundable, very straightforward, that no matter what, this reservation is non-refundable at the time of booking, regardless of when the guest books. So it doesn't matter if they book a year out or 10 days out, it's always non-refundable. The second category is semi-flexible. This is the most popular by far with vacation rental hosts. And what the semi-flexible category means is that you can set specific criteria on, like, guests can cancel for free, 90 days out or 60 days out or 30 days out. If they're within 30 days of arrival, they will be charged 100% of the total value of the reservation. If you are using payments by booking and they cancel in a period where it is outside of the free cancellation period, we have already collected that payment and it will be remitted to you regardless if they come or not, or if they cancel during the outside of the free cancellation period. That revenue is guaranteed to you. If you decide that you don't want to use payments by booking, you can of course still have any of those cancellation policies, but you would then be responsible for collecting that cancellation fee. So definitely recommend using payments by booking, because if I feel like a lot of times when I do see chargebacks, it's when a guest cancels, they're outside of their free cancellation window, and for some reason they're like, think the policies don't apply to them. So they still try to get their money back. So just another great reason to use payments by booking, because as I mentioned earlier, we're covering the chargebacks. And then the third main category, which honestly would not likely be used by any of you as hosts, would be like free cancellation up until arrival. And that's a hotel policy. So what I recommend is doing both a non-refundable rate plan and a semi-flexible rate plan. So some guests care way more about, they're just a lot more cost conscious, even if it's like a very incremental, like a very small discount. They don't care what policy they're booking. They're like, I just want the best rate possible. And then some guests really want more flexibility. So you could do a non-refundable rate plan that is maybe a slight discount, a more competitive rate, and then a semi-flexible rate plan offering, anywhere from like 90, 60, 45, 14. We have so many different options available to you. Choosing one of those policies at maybe a higher rate for those guests who value the flexibility versus the rate.
So, Emily, would you be open to creating for us an ideal cancellation slash rate plan? Not tell people what the rate should be, but as far
Mhm.
as what those policies would be ideal that we could just kind of share and say, this is what Booking.com recommends for ideal policies during the World Cup and focus it in on that. Would they allow you to do that?
Yeah, I can ask on that.
Okay.
That's something I'll get back to you all on. I think that with an event like this, it is maybe an opportunity to offer a more competitive policy as far as like how far out you want to offer the free cancellation, like maybe like 14 days, 7 days, because you're going to get a lot of last minute demand too. People who just decide at the last second, like, hey, I'm going to go on a road trip, or just international travelers who've already bought their flights, have their travel plans, that they're like, I'm having a hard time finding somewhere to stay. I'm just going to keep looking. So it is, I do think it's an opportunity to maybe be a little bit more flexible than you normally would, as far as how long you offer that free cancellation window for. But I will definitely check with my people if we're able to put together like a specific World Cup
Yeah, like a
policy.
guidance
Yeah.
where we can just look and be like, okay, I am comfortable with this. This is what Emily said. Check, check,
Mhm.
check, done. Versus having to overthink things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely. I will
Um,
ask on that.
and Mo has asked, what are providers? So Mo, providers is the property management software we were talking about, or PMS as the acronym. And we will do a whole nother session about PMSs and channel management, meaning that PMS, property management providers like your hub, and then they're connected to all the different channels, which I know she said OTAs. I've said OTAs. That's online travel agent. So that is your main one. So like at the crash course in November, we had Booking.com, we had Vrbo, and we had Airbnb as the OTAs that were there. And there's a lot of niche OTAs out there as well, but those are the three main ones. Um, Jamie's asking a place where all the photo tag options are listed on Booking.com.
Where it's listed.
Yeah, well, if there's a list, I guess a photo tag option so that they're aware of what they need to look for. Or if you
So
have
the
an article link, I can.
Yeah, so I'll check if we have a specific link. I don't know if we have a list of all of their photo tags. However, if you go to your amenities page on your property, that all the list of all the amenities that we have are all the available photo tags that we have.
Okay, good.
Um, and there's a lot. So if you have a second to take a look through that page, that's going to translate to what photo tags we have available.
Okay.
But I'll see if there's something that like writes it out that is like nicer, so you don't have to log in. You can just read an article, and I'll follow up with you on that, Tyann.
Sounds great. And now Brian's asked, and I'm going to change this wording so I think it'll be able do it better. Can you create a specific season for the FIFA period that has no discounts, but outside the FIFA period, he might have a weekly or monthly stay discount.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, we have a ton of different tooling within our calendar page. So if you are managing all of this on your own, within the calendar on your group account, we have all kinds of different tools, and you can set up those criterion around those different promotions to make sure that they are not being taken into account during the World Cup when you don't want to do any discounting or any sort of promotion. So we're very flexible. Um, that honestly, that I would say that is probably our bread and butter compared to some of the other platforms out there, is that we have the most flexibility as far as promotions, rate plans, different things that you can do based on seasonality, and really making the most dynamic strategy for your properties and booking. I know that some of our competitors don't necessarily have these tools available to them. So I know I sound like a broken record. If you are using a provider, do this. You can do all the promotions directly through your provider. So just want to call that out, Brian. If you are using a channel manager or a property management system, you can do most of this through them.
Excellent. And then just to verify, to go along with what Laura's question was about the discounts and promos, they can pick whatever it is they want their discount or promo to be, as far as percentage or length of stay, actual number of nights to length of stay before it kicks in. All of that, you've got that flexibility so they can have that control.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you are really in control. You're in the driver's seat. You get to pick exactly what you want that to look like. Um, and they're really simple to set up. So it'll ask you a couple questions, and as far as like dates, what percentage you want to offer, or if it's something else that you want to offer. Like, this isn't very common in vacation rentals, but every once in a while there's like a condo hotel type setup that might offer like breakfast or a taxi credit, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be discounting on your nightly rate. There are some other options available.
Okay. Now, what if the nightmare scenario happens that you get a double booking and you have to cancel someone? What kind of, I don't know, fines or strikes against the host, or what happens there on the host side?
Yeah, yeah. So as far as double bookings, first of all, if you are a first time host and your property has never had any double bookings before, we give like one per listing of a waived penalty. So we understand mistakes happen, and especially for new hosts. So that, as long as it's not happening multiple times, and you're new and it hasn't happened before, you wouldn't be penalized as far as the penalty goes. So we if a reservation has to be canceled because there is a double booking, we do waive commission. However, we may, and I want to put asterisks around this, we may charge for relocating the guests. However, a lot of the time the guest just wants to do the rebooking themselves, and they don't want to they don't want to have someone else finding them a list of accommodations and then trying to pick. What I recommend if you run into those situations is, one, seeing if you have an alternative. If you have multiple properties, seeing if maybe there's somewhere else that you can offer that guest to stay during that time. If you don't, letting them know as early as possible. So as soon as you determine that there's been double booking, letting the guests know so they can plan accordingly. But kind of back to the penalty, there may be an incremental fee with relocating the guest, but it wouldn't be anything exorbitant. It's based on what the guest originally booked, so they can't say, I want a $10,000 per dollar a night property and this host has to pay for it. That would never happen. It has to be within the same category. And it's typically, I don't even know if I'm technically allowed to say this, so let's keep this between all of us, but typically it's like no more than $50, which honestly it's not a massive amount for a double booking. But like I said, first time penalty free. So just make sure it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
Would be my best advice.
Yep. And to avoid double bookings, that API connection is the best
Mhm.
route. Since I've been API connected many years ago, I've not had another double booking because I can tell you double bookings are not fun because a lot of stress and you don't want to disappoint your guest either.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so Mo has asked, is it too late to begin now as far as listing his place out? It's a first time for him. He's making this decision. I have thoughts on that, but Emily, I want you to give your thoughts.
I don't think so. I think there is so much demand in the area. And it's, you're like I kind of mentioned earlier, the games were just announced, right, on the 5th. So people are still managing their logistics and figuring out like, is this feasible for me to even travel? I can travel. Okay, now I'm going to start looking. And there's also going to be so many people like last minute domestically. It might not necessarily be someone who is a massive Amsterdam soccer fan, but they're like, I want to go to a World Cup game. This Kansas City is within a 2 hour drive of where my home is. And I want to stay in the city and stay there for a couple days and, join the party and be a part of the World Cup. So not only are you going to have all this demand from international soccer fans, but there's also people who want to be a part of this cultural moment. And like me personally, like I'm trying to figure out how I can go to a game. I know nothing about soccer. Like I don't think I've ever watched a soccer game and it's like in a full soccer game. So I just think it's really cool that we have this massive event coming to our city. So definitely don't think it's too late. And with all the tools that I mentioned earlier and all the other platforms pretty much have these same tools, it's not too late to get started on any of these platforms and be able to get booked up for
And I'm
this
gonna I'm
dates.
gonna
Yeah.
underscore the Americans coming as well. So Branson is within a day's drive of half the population of the country. Kansas City's not that far away. So I would say just about half the population of the country is within a day's drive to come to these games in Kansas City. So whether you're able to get listed now or you get listed in March because you have to go through all types of permits processes and everything, I would still do it. It's not too late at all. There will be that demand that just continues to grow and grow and grow. And then when teams start winning, and for instance, Kansas City has match number 100 on July 3rd. Okay, so July 4th is the country's 250th birthday. Now, July 3rd is the first game of possibly having the U.S. team in Kansas City to play. So when you start looking at the different logistics and the different
Mhm.
things that could happen, it's like, okay, there's so much build up. So yes, sooner is better, but don't feel like you've already lost out at all. And that's why we're continuing to do these educational series.
Yeah.
Okay, next question here. Laura has a question on rates. Laura, I'm going to defer that to when we do another educational time and AirDNA's got some dashboards we're going to link into and everything to give you a look at over everything. Because I'm sure Emily was not prepared to give us that type of data for this session. I did not ask her for that. Eddie recording will be on the MOVA website afterwards. It'll be free to everyone, so we'll be able to share it with the other host cities as well. And that is it. Emily, do you have
Yeah.
any other parting words of wisdom you want to share with folks?
Thank you. This is such an exciting moment, and it's not too late to get involved. And I think this is a great opportunity to test hosting out. It might be something that you really love to do and are like, hey, this is going to be my new profession. So definitely do not feel like apprehensive or nervous. This is such an exciting and fun time to be a part of the industry. And there are so many great resources out there. Tyann does an amazing job of curating a lot of resources from trusted brands that work in the industry. So if you are looking for advice about specific topics, I know that the Missouri Vacation Rental Alliance has so many great resources for you. Booking.com has so many great resources for you. And then all of the other industry platforms also have great resources. So I would just say be a sponge, absorb everything that you can right now, and also like have fun because it is fun.
It is. It is. I love it. Just a big a big plug for our video course where Booking.com did a whole session on how to create your listing as far as titles and descriptions that you can use across any of the platforms, no matter what OTA or online travel agent you use. And it's really important information that she did that really went into search and keywords and things like that. So I highly recommend you get into the video course as well. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.